very aggressive conversation, like violent communication. Like,
Not swearing at each other, right? Just like,
yeah. Like, so if you feel like you're upset on the other people, feel free to throw the mic. It's the violence. So if you feel like you have a strong opinion, say so. If you feel like want to listen, just listen. It's a free discussions. Raise your hand when you have like any strong opinion. I will facilitate who to speak. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Feel free to have a strong opinion. We don't have to agree. This is not a work environment. It should be a safe space where you can say anything you want, and we won't judge you.
Be careful which speaking.
You can say anything, but we won't judge
put
you.
my mask back on.
We want to. Can I take your mask off so they can see my pretty face?
Priorities, eh?
Yes. I'm Rin. I'm a lead consultant from ThoughtWorks. Consulting background, financial service.
I'm Craig. I have a background in development design, business analyst, and now the MPO.
I'm Gio. I work for myself in business Singapore, but in French. I have a background in IT, in architecture consulting. For the last 50 years, I've been doing Agile coaching.
Sorry. Yeah. We cannot. Yeah, we have to somehow like.
It's for the likes.
Yeah, for the like.
So I pretend, or is it going to turn on?
Do we need to turn on the participants?
It's gonna turn on, but how?
Not on mine.
No. It's gonna be turned on. It's supposed to be turned on.
Wow.
We are remote control.
Do we have to do that again?
No, let's
Okay.
Probably we can.
So which one doesn't work?
at the bottom, there's like a red one.
Oh, yeah.
You just like hold it until the orange light turn on.
Wonderful additions.
Yes.
It's a little red to me, but
Right.
Okay.
Okay, for whose turn?
Check 1, 2.
Yes, correct. Go ahead.
Are we doing it again or?
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Victor. My background is development, coding, team lead, architect, but for the last 13, 14 years working as Agile coaching, developing delivering teams.
My name is Joel. My background is engineering. I've been working in engineering for probably 20 years. These days I'm working at Agoda, I'm a director of engineering, and run a bunch of teams.
Hi, my name is Nee. Nee is like me. My background is I'm a designer, and right now I'm taking care of the schedule for the animation studio. But 80% of project cannot meet the schedule. It's always late. That's my pain point.
My team is almost wonderful. Despite quite hard, even if they understand how to do flexibility.
I'm Sam. My background is in designing as well, and VA, PM, PMO, and courses more.
Hi, my name is Anne. My background is my background is like tester, software tester, support, and now I'm like a configurator. So at the end, I like some everything, and I think I'm like a problem solver, just solve the issue when like people come to me. Yeah, don't speak with the role anymore because I cannot classify myself anymore. Yeah, that's me. Yeah.
Not my role. I can't do anything.
Uh,
Maybe pattern.
Jay, Agile coach, Allianz Technical Insurance Financial Service provider. My name is Nathanan. I'm currently a Scrum Master. Background is on the SAP Academy.
Zachris, nickname is Zach. I was with ExxonMobil for 15 years, then I was with Roche for a year. I tried Prusa Holdings for 3 months, and now I'm in between jobs, so I'm doing like an innovation consultant, which I think has an overlap with Agile, and that is managing uncertainties.
Okay. We're going to start with the first question. Like, we would like to listen to the. Yes. Sorry for that. The most suffer experience that you ever had during the agile. The worst experience. Yeah, we have like
It's got to seen a few.
yeah. Yes. And start with you. I can see your face.
I'm not sure I can imagine.
During this conversation, this is your explanation. Like, if you have strong opinion, you should like ask, like raise your hand. That's it. Go ahead.
You want me to start?
Yeah.
Oh, well, there's so many.
Pick the most suffering one.
Most suffering one.
What else?
Maybe
You
someone
can
else
finish.
start.
You can spend your time. Yeah.
So that's, well, there have been different painful experiences, but on agile transformations, we're like 6 years ago, something like this, and I'm helping a company, the branch of an international company in Southeast Asia, and they are rolling out, they are transforming to agile ways of working all across the globe, and the people I meet and when we talk about it, and they're very pragmatic. I love it. They refer to, for example, the SAFE framework that you just say it's just a dictionary of words. We're not following it. We do it ourselves organically. And we started to help a couple of teams in the region, actually in Bangkok also, so it was fun, and partnership with Brazilians. And in the middle of summer, not far before my holidays, somewhere in the US leadership, they flipped. They realized the first couple of team transformation and tribe transformation work, and someone decides to go big. And wonderful people, extremely smart about them, but that person, I'm not trying to say, acted as a bully. A topic recurrent in Agile. I realize in transformation that some people actually are transformation bullies, but anyway, suddenly they flip. And when I go back from I see ramping up when I go out of my holidays, they change me to accompanying the next team. They didn't even send me an email. And they gather, I think, 16 coach, and we have to roll out transforming teams at an extremely fast pace by a pack of 6, I would say. Can we say swear words? So it was a shit show. And you went everything that goes wrong when you roll out instead of letting things go organically. I'll come back to the topic
Have you
myself.
tried it all around?
Hmm?
I will turn it all around, or it's not good.
Oh no, it was horrible. First, it became extremely brutal. As coaches, we didn't have the time to form ourselves as teams, so we got paired just like that. Every time frame was shortened. International, right, all across the world, so the hours were stupid. I put on 5 kilo in 2 months just because we never had time to go outside. But it's more about any objection you could formulate. We're like, now we roll it out. And it just becomes a grinder for everybody. And yeah, there was a lot of pain because suddenly everything was done. They gave up on doing it right, let's say. And it was painful for the coach and for the team. Gosh, it was ridiculous. It was just like pushing my thoughts to them without asking questions, without sometimes nonsense in the documentation. Like I pointed out, guys, this is classic mistake. This is a mistake. Yep, but you roll it out to the team because we wrote it like this. And so just becoming brutal with the people. So it just felt like this. So we went up for 4 months, the beginning of the mission.
How's the happiness?
What happiness?
Happiness.
No, that was over.
Any happiness?
No, that time was over. It's all the messages about transformation done wrong, meaning, yes, it has to go fast, change is uncomfortable, so I'm an advocate for your transformation should go fast because people suffer through it, but it's more about, people suffer, they're just resistant, it's normal, force it. So a way of wishful thinking when you become ignorant to people's reaction, you stop empathizing. Plus, if you were somewhere in a US piloting team around, and as a coach it's terrible, but when you see people suffering and you realize you can't ask to do things to people that are not good for them, and or plenty just fools.
It's like make it what's the data of are they getting a new job right away or they still continue suffering?
No, I don't want to. It's been inspiring me a lot for my upcoming session, but it's just you don't adjust the process around the team to make it comfortable, so they work in an agile way, faster pace, but they still have to also do a lot of process related on adding a lot of process related to the organization around, which is still waterfall. And when you do something that is new, suddenly you're not comfortable at all. You knew your job last month, but this month everything is new. And if you don't let people to feel comfortable, if you don't support them, if you don't coach them right, if you just don't let them learn, you're just crushing them. Suddenly they think they suck at the job, they don't know how to succeed, and they have to go for results. And because you have contradictory demands from the job and the rest, you're going to fail no matter what.
How is it now?
How
many years ago are we talking about?
How many what?
How many years ago we're talking about what is the restart?
I will try not to be too specific, just for the sake of confidentiality. And plus, the thing to understand is it was meant for extremely smart people and wonderful. This is where, look, if you do the wrong thing, even with the best people, the wrong thing happens. Doing garbage in, garbage out in a sense. And there is a story of horrible people. I spotted one person who I think was a bully, but not an obvious, stupid, aggressive one, just came out to be honest.
Oh yeah. I don't know if my question is right, but I people who execute things right. Sometimes it's observing things it's garbage in, garbage out. But it turns out that the company and us still have a lot of revenues. You know what I mean? Is that happens also?
Yeah, plus what the paradox was, so at the end of the day, I was fired and a lot of others too, because my true commitment is I will not lie to the team. I'm trying to not teach the bad things. Simply put, do not give them bad habits. And I'm an experienced consultant. I know when I see I have to deliver, say, a presentation from someone, there's a mistake. You know how to go around the topic, mention it, and you can clear it up with your team. Hey guys, did you see we have a bug in the presentation? How do I address that? Hey, we need to fix it. Come on. But no, I was told literally to say the wrong thing. I got control, I'm gonna say it, which I didn't. So another person tried to say, I don't know, it was something about managing the task in the team. It was aberrant, it was an ETA job. And another guy tried to push it, and the team, because I coached them the previous months, they didn't buy it, because they spotted the crap. But the point is, suddenly they didn't need an experienced senior coach, they needed somebody to say the words, an executant. Obviously, I'm not that person. And so, that was it for me, and then a lot of people, and everything dragged. And yeah.
Okay. May I ask you, targeting. Just targeting. Yes, you sit opposite to me. What's your opinion about this story? Things happening, people crashing, how do you deal with that?
Try to realize the situation. I think it's happened. I think it's happened in every organization. And I think when we do something around change, people might sometimes not ready to change, and sometimes people don't feel comfortable to change. feels like when I approach that situation, in a lot of the team that we have, not just only the one that we know.
I'm trying not to.
But I mean, like, I think sometimes we miss the element of why people need to change and try to address on why we need to change and try to understand them from that perspective as well. Because sometimes people feel like this is the order that we need to change, but don't listen to them sometimes. So we just push things to the people and don't listen to them actually.
So it's not the resistance, it's like,
It's the behavior showing the resistance, but actually they do that behavior because they have something in their mind, but we don't respect on that opinion and we don't listen to that. So sometimes when we do transformation, we just push things, but we don't listen to them. That's how it is.
The resistance not come in terms of like opinions or voice out, but it is released from behavior.
Yeah.
And because failure, like what kind of failure, how wrong it can be, like what is the consequence of those kind of behavior?
I think makes the environment, the atmosphere of the team going down, and as you mentioned, it's toxic, so it's an annoying.
All of a sudden become very toxic. We all agree that it become very toxic, like all of them at some times. People still, what I wonder is like, I would like to explore, like, why they keep like go up and continue being toxic every day. What happens? Like,
Maybe I'll answer what Jay has challenged.
yeah.
Let's go back to your
Okay,
because I want to kind of understand whether it's similar to what I've experienced and whether this is a pattern here, right? Because you mentioned kind of like the flipping point was the part about scaling. I think there was some successes at the team. You still in control there. It was customized. You were able to listen. People were adapting to it. And then the flip was, for whatever reason, there was this drive to immediately replicate it, just copy paste the success to other teams. That was it, right? Because when you look at scale, like for me, it can be done two ways. One is, you have a front runner, you have a like a proof of concept. It works. Scale, boom, and that's when shit starts to go wrong, right? Because the alternative would be obviously you take your time with the team success, you move to another team and you take the time and go on. Yeah, and
It's gardening, nurture it.
Like the first team figure it out by themselves, like with the help of a coach, the reference of a couple maybe of methods here and there, and you do the same as well. You let the other one figure it out.
Right, same.
Instead of, as you say, copy pasting, or the Americans say the cookie cutter approach, to do the same thing. Right?
I find that the word scaling, this is the thing that trips people up. Scaling.
You'll be there day after hour. I don't want to use that word anymore because, just as you say, it's just a word, but it's misleading, absolutely. Yeah, I think that being there in a very similar scenario, I think that when you say scaling, people think of a sausage factory.
Yeah.
Just stuff things in, wrap it up, drop, next one. Stuff things in, wrap it up, draw, next one, right? And there's a series of factors that I've seen this happening. First, you were not asking what kind of problem we're trying to solve. We need to become agile because we need to become agile, right? Because it's the new thing. It's not the new thing anymore. It's past way the new thing, but old big corporations, they are later adopters. Right? And they come up, many people are doing this, we should do this as well. So you just say, we need to become agile because we need to become agile. So measure of success is usually number of people or teams using agile, which is, it's not the point, right?
What should be the right?
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
your slides of field?
Yeah, so like, what kind of problem am I trying to solve? My problem is, we take too long we have a big problem in time to market. There's a way to measure that. We have a big problem trying to understand our customer. There's another way for that. We have a problem in employee satisfaction. There's another way to measure that, right? If you have a clear goal and you leave it open so people can adapt different ways to achieve that goal, you have a better experience. But again, I think that leadership in big companies, they're not used to deal with uncertainty, so everything needs to be rolled out and have a plan. And what was the biggest irony that to have an agile transformation, you have a big waterfall plan. You design everything and then you just implement it. Right? This is not how it should work. So you ended up with things like this. I have tons of things that I need to follow to release my software if I work in software environment, right? I have a bunch of approvals, I have a bunch of manual forms I need to perform, but and then came the Scrum Master and Agile Coach saying, but you still need to run retrospectives and you need to release in 2 weeks. So to people who are working, right, and they need to deal with a bunch of stuff that they need to do that they don't make any sense to them, comes someone else that has no respect for the environment, right? And when it's no respect, it's not most part of the time, not because they choose not to have respect, because they're pushed not to have respect. And add more and more things to do. So it's a big irony, because I was a developer, right, once, and my first experience with Agile was extreme programming, which was revolutionary for me at the time. And Agile was created for developers, by developers, to get away move away from a lot of bureaucracy that was not allowing them to deliver the quality that they wanted and the time that they could deliver, right? And then now we become just another processes stash upon each other. So that's why if you go to any developer, right? But in a big amount of say, what do you think about that job? You better buckle up to a bunch of critique, because they have horrible experiences trying to implement that.
What do you like? Obviously.
No, I was just going to bounce off the conversation Victor and I were having earlier about, also picking up the transformation piece. I think one of the biggest irony of trying to do any kind of transformation is management, we're typically very ready to roll out 20 hours for all the staff, right? But the irony is, I always ask what how many hours has management actually had on what Agile actually means. And it's surprising, because I think the first group of people who needs to be trained educated on what it actually means are the management. Because I think Victor and I were talking a little bit about, to be Agile, you have to have things like safe space and vulnerability. And then you would have 20 hours on the staff on how to, speak up and all those things. And you would have, I don't know, an hour for the management to say, hey, this is how you create safe space. I mean, I've literally been in a training where the staff had like 30 hours of training on innovation, on how to speak up and things like that. We had training for management the next day for a day. And one of the things we said was, you mustn't kill any ideas. You must let ideas flow and let it, don't say no, don't say, don't do this, don't do that, you can't do this. You know what happened the very next day when the staff come and pitch? Oh, I've been doing this for years. You can't do that. You can't do this. And I was like, but we just trained you yesterday. So I think a lot of times when you talk about transformation, you focus so much on the other organization, and it's the leadership also that needs to be trained on how to do it effectively.
That rely on the mindset of the management, like there's management, I say yes or no, it's our job.
So recently, there we go. So recently, I had an experience in Thailand specifically with a strange corp. The one thing I took away from it is that management don't care. CEOs don't care. They don't have time to understand what we do. They don't care about Agile. They don't care.
at all, because it's not their job. Their job is to make money. How they do that is a mystery to everybody, right? However, when they start implementing units, and by units we mean business units that focus on Scrum, Agile, whatever else, all these frameworks, better ways to work, there's a huge disconnect, in particular, in my experience in Thailand, between that unit, that entity, and everybody else in the company. And they don't care about connecting the two things. And the people I work beside, I had the unfortunate pleasure of having both sides of it. I worked next to some people some big names, came all the way from Australia, Canada, America, wherever else, Berlin, to teach this stuff. And the people they were teaching it to was each other. And not the 5,000 employees on the ground who had just been told this is project management 101, stick to that. And I went into the working teams as an outsider, and I was hammered every day. Every single day, secret meetings, talking behind your back. This guy's an idiot. Why is he changing stuff? Like, it doesn't mean that they're nasty people and they're horrible people. It's a couple of things. One is like they're scared. Is this guy going to fire us? Is this guy going to take our jobs? Why is he changing stuff? It doesn't make sense. Well, as you said before, the job changes. What am I doing next week, next month? They have no idea. And when you tell them, I am here to help you, I am here to give you more, to make sure that you have more skills, that you can do more, and spend less time worrying about things you don't need to worry about. They don't care, because that fear is still there. And then management goes all the way up. They don't care neither, because then it's like, that's not our job. And it becomes very toxic very fast, and then you become the target of all the anger. And then you have to work one by one with every single person and win them over to the concept that I am here to help, and that we are here to make sure that the team can do stuff in a way that enables everybody else around us. And once you start doing it, then the team changes.
It becomes very hotter. So we're going to hear from all of you, like if you have a strong opinion about what are the best way to scale?
Best way to what?
Scale.
Scale.
Can I
Summarize.
want to rebound
Yeah.
on one thing that came up here, because we start to say management, and I'd like maybe it may be time as agilists, we also recognize the responsibility of our community. My personal take is, look, for we've been sort of, the job's been going for 25 years, let's say, out in public. Management, we never know what to do with them. We never talk to them. The early movement of Agile were about, let's get rid of managers. Like, extreme programming has very fun stuff. Like, it's mostly like, get out, let us do the job. Like, we know how to code, get out. I found a Scrum presentation from somebody from 2005 where the role of the Scrum Master was described as protecting the team from the management. So now, like, managers, they don't want to get in, like, we never address them. We never, so I'm also, I came to that realization, I was the same way, like, managers, come on. But, so now we know how to do the team, we know we gotta start the leadership transformation and all, but for a couple of years, I would say, what I thought I was selling my soul. I accepted to do some management training from the help of some Parisian friends. And I realized we got to start to teach, let's say, agile organization management. Because we don't know what to say to these people. Just tell them that their team's going to change. We don't know what they're going to change. We don't know what they're going to become. But we need to start to address them, otherwise, they're just going to be against it. So I think we should look at what we did before looking at management.
Wow. I think management is not like a bad guy. I think actually like what they do, their jobs are like, they need to make sure like they get the revenue, everything perfect, everything running on the financial report works perfectly fine. I think like maybe the bad guy here is the rule and regulation.
not necessarily keeping their jobs, but making sure that they're protected for longer from the changes that they don't want to get involved in.
I think from an engineering perspective, one of the trends that I see in the industry over like many years is, and it's not just engineering, it happens in a lot of places, is sometimes people end up in management because they're good at their job, not because they're a good manager. And that's how I became a manager. I'm not innocent of this, but because of this, a lot of people I find, especially engineering managers, are questioning like, you know, what's my role as a manager? And especially when you talk about when you start to look at Scrum and promote self-organizing teams. Well, if the team is self-organizing and self-managing, why do you need a manager, right? And so I think it's a lot of managers in engineering over the past 20 years have been, you know, thinking about this, and you know, what I tell my managers is, you know, it's being a manager of a Scrum team is it's kind of like being a coach of a football team. It's you're there to help people grow, help people get better, but you never get on the field and kick any goals. You know, that's what the team's for. And I think it's there is a lot of understanding that, you know, management needs to get about Agile and how it works. But I think going some of the things that I'm hearing, and I think going a bit back to some of Vigil's points, is it's about buy-in. Like, if you're doing a big change, everyone needs to be bought in. And a part of buying is understanding the problem that you're trying to solve. A friend of mine told me a while back, one of the Agile transformations he was doing, he said the worst thing that ever happened is halfway through the process, they got support of the CTO. And he said it destroyed the project because instead of being something that people were doing because it was benefiting them, they were suddenly doing it because an email was sent from the CTO going, everyone's doing Scrum tomorrow. And so you don't see the problem, and you don't have buy-in when that happens. And I think that's a core part of Scrum and Agile is, you know, it comes from within the team. The change to the process, it's not pushed out. So you're starting off from a place that's the opposite of where you want to be.
I think in Thailand in particular, I want to make this a little bit Thai now.
Sorry, he has been waiting for quite some time.
Oh. Southeast Asia, yeah.
Because our culture is come from the top down.
100% top down. They don't know what to do.
100% of them, but like normally, like when like the older people say something, you have to do it, be told to do. And this is like planned in like our calendar. And for my experience, like when I work like with Thai company, and I also work with an international company. And the international company which is have Thai, and the culture in 3 places totally different. Or like working with the Thai company is always like that. We do what the people say to do, and that is hard to share because the person that they don't know how to deal with like the situation, like when they don't agree with the situation, how they gonna talk to the situation. They don't know that. No one teaching them. I think this is might be like a pain point of everyone here.
I think everyone here is so outspoken.
Yeah, it's a good point. The attitude like of us that we work in another people in open culture.
What I found with that was the company I worked with between the Oregon, I'm not going to name it because then it come from me, but we changed the team. It worked. It took a long time to do it, and we started pushing out. And at one point, the tolerance level from management kind of broke, and their response to it was just to fire everybody, start again on the project from the ground up. 4 years they were doing projects, didn't really make any ground, but that was the response from it because they just didn't know what to do. And again, the people on the ground didn't know what to do going up, so they keep their head down, self-preservation a little bit. You know, and then it's not like companies like Kokoda where they foster this change, they foster that feedback process. But then it goes back to like how do you, it's usually buy-in, right? How do you then get enough people internally to to support this effort and to maintain it.
And
Very
also
little
like the way that someone gonna give the feedback, and on the person that actually receive the feedback as well, they don't know how to deal with it. Sometimes like in Thailand we have the word like stare the face. It's everywhere, and they mention that. Yeah.
I want to go back to your point a little bit, like where.
I remember, is it okay? Like,
So, because I want to go back to what you said actually, because you said something about like we don't know what to do with them, and I really want to figure this out because a couple of months ago I was in a really dark place where I was thinking Agile is never going to happen, especially for enterprise companies with lots of management layers. And so it's a structure that's essentially centralization of power, and what we want to do is decentralize that decision and authority more to the team. And apart from really dismantling that roles and structures, is there any way to go about this? Because is it unavoidable that at the end of the day, these positions will go away? You can't just hide that back to these guys.
can I answer?
It will be, but
Yes.
is that the path that we have to take?
So I think at the beginning I said we didn't know what to do with them, and it's true that I'm going to refer specifically to what I call organization managers, the people who are here to fabricate and make the organization work for people to work together. For example, not project managers or else. So just the people who are there because there is a structure and somebody has to run the structure. If we change the way the organization is working, let's say replace a strong hierarchy by empowerment, that type of thing, it means, it's probable that these roles of management are going to change, and let's face it, we use less management when we empower people. So new roles will have to be created, and probably the way I see the light, let's say, things I'm doing in my group trainings and all the things I mentioned before, then you teach the managers everything about agility and organization management, agile organization, and it touches everything, how you empower people, how you coach a team by fostering autonomy, how you make them grow, also how to share the skills of organization, how to tell your team how to communicate with other teams, how to tell your teams, how to teach your teams that they can improve the organization by themselves, how to ask feedback from your directs, etc. What does mean systemic thinking, complexity thinking, and all these things that we go under the banner of agile organization. You teach them all this, and they will figure out what better role they could have in an agile organization. And usually it's not very far from what they have, but let's face it, if you have people who are sort of strongly built around the fact that they like to tell people what to do in details and not take feedback, and they're not meant for an agile organization. So if they don't find how to do, they will go away. But that's 5% of the people. The other one, maybe they will find a different passion. They will find that they prefer actually to tell their team, to have ideas from their team. They will find that they have a lot of less pressure if they don't have to decide about everything and so on. So I think I realized that when I saw some companies starting to do this, train their managers about everything agile, it happened to be smooth actually. It was more natural movement of things and people jumping on new roles, proposing initiatives or reinventing the way they're doing things. And that's what reconciliates me with the notion of management, like this way, they're really useful. Like they really help people working together. And you don't have that in an organization. You have only, let's say, only squads who develop things and nobody who's there to grease the wheel and help people work together. So these managers show me what could become agile management, but I cannot invent it for them.
I was just going to say, where I see, like looking at some other companies and my company as well, I actually see as companies get more mature, but particularly engineering companies, because that's my background, they actually get more managers, and it becomes a good thing. Like a good example is when you have a look at how performance management worked with engineers like 10, 15 years ago, you would have like an annual performance review, and it would be like the worst day of the year, that you're waiting to find out what your manager thinks about your performance, right? My managers now, I tell them to give people feedback about their performance every week. And so, and you look at companies like Adobe and Microsoft that have dropped the annual performance review cycle completely. And a lot of these companies that are more mature, they actually work in their performance management cycles with their sprint cycles. So as people, they're giving feedback about performance in the same cadences that they do things like Scrum. And like the ratio of managers to engineers, it changes, but it's not that you get less managers, you actually get more. But they spend more time, they're more people's orientated as opposed to like project management and things like that. I don't see the role of management changing or reducing with agile transformation. I see it more changing to be a more people in the companies that I'm working with to be more of a people role.
I kind of agree with that. I think managers transition into leaders more. I make a very clear distinction between managers and leaders because I think managers, you're trying to manage the present. You're trying to manage uncertainties. But I think as leaders, you have to more adopt your team and anticipate what's going to come up and how do you prepare your team for that change that's coming up. So you're probably not going to accomplish as much as like a manager where you know exactly 1 to 10 is going to happen and you're really good at that. You kind of trying to say, okay, after 10, what the hell is going to come up next and how do I prepare the team? So that's kind of how I do make a very clear distinction between management and leadership.
Sorry everyone, it's my house.
Oh, yeah. I was so like pressure, like listening stuff about like trying stuff and get the rules. But it's like thanks for everyone. Hope you all pick up something conversation. I learned a lot of new things, like new things like that I never heard of before, like when we were like speaking for like at a conference. It's very fruitful.
Maybe we can have like.
Yeah, I'll speak in 10 minutes, so I'll need to breathe. I just want to, you like fired me up. Oh my God, this was, I feel so related with what you said. Yeah, thank you. That's the fuel I needed, I think.